Can you guys hear the dump truck that is my morning every Monday in the background? I actually just recorded what I just said so that I could play it back and hear if you can hear the dump truck. And I couldn't even hear if you could hear the dump truck because the dump truck is like still going. And is it even dump truck, garbage truck? Maybe I don't even need intro music today. Maybe it's just dump truck, dump truck, dump truck. Hey, I am back. No garbage truck to be heard. I'm Hannah, your host. You are listening to Let's Talk People, a podcast about my messy musings as a trained counselor. And I missed posting last on Thursday. I mean, I didn't really miss it. I posted Thursday night late. And then first thing Friday morning, I took it down. I kind of freaked out. It was the topic was about a lot of the racist incidents and events, and this bigger dialogue that's happening right now in the States and in Canada primarily, and my sort of 2 cents on that. But I took it down. I don't really want to get into why right now. I'm just not feeling it, But it's a weird world, man. Things are kind of haywire right now. I hope everyone's doing good. Finding ways to stay sane and happy and positive and, finding time to chill. I had so it's 10 p.m. 10:10 actually, a Monday night, and I had some lunchtime insight today. It's one of those things. It's you're doing something completely unrelated, and then this revelation dawns on you in the midst of buttering some toast, and this was one of those. And it was this. I let it marinate in my head a little bit before I even said it out loud to Johnny. But what I realized is this whole feeling that I've had about the podcast, the energy around the podcast has kind of changed as I've gone through the episodes. I don't really remember what I was feeling in the first couple. But I'm in this different level of something. I'm still trying to figure out how to say it and articulate it. So here we go. It's I think that everything that I've done in the podcast to date has been an honest reflection of me and where I'm at and the type of person that I am. Those are my actual musings. But there isn't. It became an element of me wanting to impress and kind of perform and script a narrative, make sure that I was being linear and I was saying interesting things and thought-provoking things and saying something of impact, and so that you would hear it and it would stand out in your mind and oh cool, Hannah's so smart, and wanting to be original, and I didn't necessarily feel like I was putting on that costume every time. But I guess I feel now that slipped away. That feeling has kind of slipped away. It's I didn't know the feeling was really there while it was happening. Maybe it kind of crept up on me. But now I just feel really chill, and less, it's just very freeing, right? It's very oh, well, I don't feel like I need to impress or that I even want to do that. And like I don't feel like I need to perform. Or I mean, for me, a part of it was like, oh, I want to do something in this world where I get like big and famous and everybody knows me and I'm like the person that's known for that thing. And people like see me on kind of a pedestal, and I think a part of me wanted that. I want to have like a really big audience and a big following on Instagram, and it's like this romantic, very romantic idea of having something to say. Like, I want to say something meaningful. And I wasn't like going about it, like exaggerated, I don't think. But from where I'm at now, it does feel that way. Like something just kind of like peeled away. Like I kind of shed this skin, and I don't really know how or what. And maybe I'll pick it back up tomorrow. But it feels like very easy now, and almost to the point that I'm like, wait, do I want to keep doing the podcast? Like, did it become something that I was just doing to, like, as a performance? And not that a performance is bad, but like, did I lose the relationship with myself in this relationship with the podcast and with this audience, with you? And I think I did a bit, And then I kind of forgot that, like, oh, I like this. I like this, like, unraveling of my thoughts and saying stuff out loud and figuring out what I want to say as I say it. This is so much the process that this is how I think. Like, this is how I think out loud, And so, yeah, man, that feels really cool. And then it's also kind of scary, right? Because I'm like, well, if I don't want to do the podcast, or if I don't want to be like, if I don't feel like I have something to say, something I want to have like this big impact, then what do I really want to do? And that feels like kind of uncertain and a little scary, but as you can see, I'm sitting here chatting with you because I felt like, let me just sit and sort of toy with this and see what happens, see how it feels. And let it take me where it wants to go. And so sitting here now, I'm like, oh, right, okay. Like, everything else aside, I like this. I enjoy this dialogue, this discussion with myself. It is a discussion with you as much as it is with me. I'm figuring things out as I say them to you. A lot of things I said, just even in this episode, for example, like I haven't thought about, I haven't written. They're coming out and like becoming real at the same time that you hear them as I say them, They're not like prepared. And I like that. I like the life behind that. You kind of create this space where you can stumble into something in a moment that isn't scripted. It isn't like planned. You haven't like rehearsed it and kind of captured it into this like preparation. You just like let it roll. There is this other podcast that I heard. I found it like a couple weeks ago, I think. And this girl on it, this woman, she talked about this idea. And the way that she used to describe it, this idea of like doing something unrehearsed and kind of like undressed was the first pancake. Like the first pancake is like the flop, right? It's like you're just figuring it out. It's probably square and has like a little, amoeba attached to it. Or maybe it's like a rhombus or something. One side's like a little burnt. You're still kind of getting the right temperature before you can go and like actually start making the batch of pancakes. This is like the lone wolf pancake. And I like that idea, the concept of it. And that's what I've been wanting to go for here. And then I kind of got like sidetracked a bit. Yeah. So I feel like I'm kind of back in. Because what was happening when I was trying to impress, and the way that I realized I was trying to impress is like, it felt like so much work to put these podcasts together. And this is more maybe even just in like the last one, the Thursday one. Like I was so stressed about like what to say, and is this the right thing to say, and will you agree with me, and will you like it? And I recorded and like scripted some of it, and then I didn't like it, and so I did another version, and there was just so much of this like feeling unsettled inside, you know? It was like I was constantly second guessing myself. And what I learned from that, which I think is really helpful for me, is to see that my feelings are really good information for me. If it doesn't feel right, then I don't need to force it. I just need to like find the feeling that does feel right, as opposed to find the content that I think feels right while my feeling still doesn't feel good. Does that make sense? It's like I was just trying to change the argument or change the phrasing or change what I said in the podcast. But I kept feeling like, that's not it. I don't know. I don't feel right about it. I don't know if I want to say that. Instead of changing the content, I just need to change how I feel. Like get on the right line of feeling good. And then whatever I say is like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to say. So it's cool to like lead with how I feel, you know? And that there's more information in my feelings than I give credit for. So I couldn't really put my finger on why I was feeling the way that I was. I couldn't put my finger on like, what is it? Is it, and it took me a bit to realize that, like, back to, you know, the episode that I deleted on Thursday. It's like I was trying to make a point, but it turned out that point was like me just trying to be really righteous and not truly empathetic about this kind of like racist problem that's happening in the country right now. And so it didn't feel good because it wasn't coming from like the right place. I mean, the content of what I was saying, like I would still agree with it, but it was like the energy, the feeling, again, it was like the feeling I had behind why I was saying it and the way that I was saying it was just off, you know, for me. And not necessarily in a way that you would have been able to tell or anybody else would have been able to tell except for me. And so the fact that even though like my brain hadn't wrapped around what was happening, I had like a visceral feeling, emotional response and an emotional intelligence to know, hey, you don't fully understand why this isn't right yet, but it isn't right. So that's cool that like my feeling can kind of tell me before I can tell myself, before I even know how to put words around it. I have this like gut reaction, you know? And I guess that's where like the trust your gut, and it becomes difficult to trust it because it's like, yeah, okay, it feels crappy, but where's the evidence? What does that mean? What do I do with this? So I think this is just like more proof for me at least, to kind of like find the feeling, follow the feeling, you know, at least using that as information rather than like an annoying, frustrating experience that I have to like play tug of war with. I give it some credit. Maybe it's like an arrow pointing me in a different direction. You know, I don't have to just like keep trying to do the same thing that I'm doing and like push the feeling aside. Yeah. Does that make sense? It made sense to me. Hopefully you're with me here. You know? Super productive chat, guys. This was great. Thanks. I hope you have a great day, a great week. Yeah, Instagram is a place to like say hi to me, drop in, shoot me a message, come and like, you know, be a fly on my Instagram wall. Oh, that was good. My handle is HANNN_AH, and I will see you next time.